And we're live, at least on Twitch. YouTube's probably only just a moment behind. What's up, guys? I'm a professional software engineer. Been working in the industry for about 8 years now. I've been coding for 10 or 12 years overall. And I'm a full stack developer, so what that basically means is I work on websites. I build front ends for websites and products and features, and then also work on the back end, so the server side of things. I do infrastructure as well, largely using AWS. And recently I've been documenting my coding adventures with Godot and building out some game features, and so that's what I'm going to be doing today. I have a little kind of playground for some of the features that I've built and have been working on. It's a really, at the moment, simple, straightforward game. It's top down, and you have this flashlight, and the reason why you can see multiple polygons here for the flashlight is because I have debug images on. So you have these zombies that walk around, and the only way you can see them is if you walk up and shine your flashlight on them. So we should see one here, and you see when I take my flashlight off, you can't see them, and then they appear and they have little shadows and stuff, and they follow you when they're close by. You can shoot them, they die. It opens an inventory menu, which is one of the things I'll be focusing on today. There's a save function, a load game function, there's a chunking system. So really I'm just building out some features that I think are helpful to understand and learn about, so that when I do decide to, have a good game idea. I've already learned some stuff about Godot, learned some stuff about game development, how to build some of these features, and it should hopefully make things a little bit smoother than they otherwise would be if I was just trying to dive in and work on something immediately and without any kind of background, prior knowledge or experience with game development. So on the last stream I did, I was fixing the load menu here, so I got it looking more like the main menu with the save files and everything. Now what I'm going to focus on is just making the general game UI look a little bit nicer, have it so that it when you change the size of the screen, it moves and shifts with that, so it respects the aspect ratio and everything. And then from there, I'll probably do the same for the inventory. So I was showing that just a moment before, but when you hover over a zombie, a little UI element pops up to press E, and then you can see your inventory. So I'll do that for this as well, and I'll maybe start adding some like different items and ammo and stuff like that, just to make the game a little more fleshed out. But yeah, let's get started. So let's focus on the in-game UI. So I think as of right now, I have a pause manager. I have player inventory. I think it's called game UI. Yes, it is. Okay, so at the moment, it's just a bunch of labels, ones that I update programmatically depending on different signals that are emitted. So a bunch of these get connected to the game manager, and then the player changes things, and the game manager emits signals, and then we can update the UI through that. So the first thing we want to do is get everything kind of positioned where we want it to. So I think I want to focus on having the entire control node be the full width of the screen and full height of the screen, where kind of the main player elements are pinned to the top left, and like any game debug type stuff. Right now I have just the game version, which is 0, pinned to the bottom right. So I'll focus on that. And then from there, we will I don't think I'm gonna work too much on like doing any design or you know, for like health, doing like a meter or anything. I think I'll just stick with numbers, but I just want to make everything a little bit bigger, a little cleaner, have some reusable components here, so I don't need to constantly, like anytime I add a new thing, add a new label and you know, different signals and stuff. Like it'd be nice to have kind of a single way to do that. Single source of truth there. So I think to start, I'll add a child node, which will be, I've been using panel container a lot. I'm not sure if that's the right way to go about it, but it's worked for me. I set layout mode to anchors. I do, I think in this case, full rectangle rather than center, because I want, I basically want the, what is it called? Spread. I want it to extend all the way horizontally and vertically so that any element that's under here will do that as well. Now, because let's see. So I think I kind of want to have two UI containers. One for like the player information, so what goes in the top left, and then another one for debug information in the bottom right. Which means I'll have parent panel containers for each of those. So we'll call this outer container just like full UI container. And then under that, we'll have a panel container for the player UI or player elements. I guess player UI elements. And then another child node, which is also a panel container. And we'll call this debug UI elements. And I think for these, oh no, I can still use anchors. So if I go into, let's see. Why do I have anchors preset here? And why do I not have that here? I would definitely expect, so I don't want, maybe actually this is where a panel container isn't helpful, but essentially what I'm looking to do is say, put this player UI elements in the top left corner. So maybe that's actually what shrink begin for both horizontal and vertical. And now I assume if I were to say like this is 400 by 400. Yeah, so we'd see this player UI elements kind of just show up in the top left here. That's probably good enough for now. Essentially what I'm trying to avoid is needing to manually place any of these elements, because what this means now is anytime I move the screen around, it's always going to stick to the top left, and then the same is going to be true for the debug UI elements. It'll always stick to the bottom right. So let's update debug UI elements as well. We want shrink end for both so that it sticks in the bottom right. And then we'll say custom minimum size. Let's just also say 400 by 400 for now. So we do want the background to be transparent. I don't know if this background here is showing up because it's just kind of a debug element of the editor or if it's actually going to have that background. So let's just go ahead and start the game. So no, it does show up. I'm trying to see if it's what the opacity is. I think it might be solid. So there's probably a setting somewhere to update that. So let's go ahead and find that. Let's see, but I really just want the background opacity to be changed, not necessarily the opacity of the entire container, which will eventually contain the labels. So I don't think I necessarily want to change it for the entire container itself. Although, actually, now that I think about it, this full UI container, is that changing the color of everything at all? I think it might be. Let me go ahead and hide this. Yes, okay, so it is changing the color of everything, which is not what I want. Let's see. Might just have to look this up. Oh, I forgot to start my timer. Meant to do that at the beginning. Let's go ahead and... How do I do that? Start. There we go. Cool. So this will just indicate kind of how much time I have been streaming, I guess, working on this project. Okay, Godot, panel, container, change background, opacity. That's not what I wanted. I want it in there. Is the new panel semi-transparent? Yes, this color is used to create the panel's default style box. Is this intentional? Let's change it like that. There's this comment about the opacity, but it seems like the previews shown in there don't include a case where panel overlaps something, so I'd say it could have been somehow overlooked and hence not discussed properly. Let's just check this out real quick. But one reason I made it translucent by default is that it makes multiple overlapping panels distinguishable out of the box. Hey Lionel, I am working on building out some game features for just basically to learn more about Godot, learn more about game programming. I've built out a relatively simple kind of structure for a game right now. Got some load menus, a save system, but basically at its core, the game is kind of about like killing zombies. Yeah, it is. It is. And there's a lot to learn. But it's fun, and I'm a software engineer by day. I'm a simple elite coder. Yeah, but you know, there's lots to learn, lots more to do. Within the last week or so, I've been doing some leak code stuff too, just to get my algorithms chops a little bit improved. I'd say that's probably the weakest part of my coding right now. But yeah, I'm a full stack developer, work professionally. Been coding professionally for like 8 years now, and yeah, just documenting some of my game development, game learning experience. So building in Godot, just working on building out some game features. So when I do decide to make a standalone game, I have, you know, a decent understanding of what to do. So right now I'm working. Am I tired of... am I tired of full stack engineering? Not really. You know, it pays the bills. I wouldn't say it's like I do like front end. You're good. And what's happening right now too is all of your messages are being read to me. I don't know if it shows up on the stream as well, but it was making it hard to talk. Totally good. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with full stack development and just do game stuff on the side. But I really enjoy doing front end development, so working on websites and UIs, and so and I've also liked working on hardware products too. So having like game development feels like a software way of yeah. No, I love front end. And yeah, well, building a game feels like, you know, a lot of front end, which I enjoy. So yeah, just like focusing on building some features and learning and getting, you know, improving my game development skills and just coding in general. All right, where was I? Working on, oh yeah, I was looking into why the panel containers by default have a background in Godot. So if you see, if I hide it, oh, weird, I don't know why that happened. If I hide the UI container, and then show it again, there's different opacity here. And that's definitely not what I would like to be happening, and I don't see a way to change it. So I'm just trying to figure out if there's a way to change the background opacity without changing the opacity, of the container itself. I imagine there has to be a way, but I'm not seeing it. So I was just looking at some GitHub comments and documentation online. Yes, I updated the after screenshots. Panels are made opaque by default. The self-modulate property could be used to adjust their opacity without overriding the style box. Okay, I wonder if I can use the self-modulate to change the opacity of the background without actually doing the changing the opacity of the children. So I'm just gonna move one of these into, let's just say, player UI elements. Why did it disappear? Is this a z-index thing? Or it might, strange. What if I put it here? No, it's still gone. It shows up there. Oh, because I've hidden this. Okay, so it's down there for some, oh wait, I want it to be, oops, in player UI elements. Okay, so it's in the middle. Why is it centered? Lionel, what front end do you do, or do you not do much front end? I can't tell why this is centering. Gotcha. What are you interviewing for? More backend roles, or, and what do you code in as well? Why is this? Oh, here we go. I don't know when I changed this, but I would rather it. Trying to go for generous roles and want to leave full stack and front end to go to platform or cloud engineering. Nice. When you say cloud engineering, do you mean like infrastructure and like developer, like DevOps, or? Because to me, cloud engineering is like, that could be anything. That's very broad. I don't know why this is centering, but for the moment, I'll just move everything in so it's at least... Oh, actually, I do know why it's centering. Hold on. Within player UI elements, I want to add a child node, which is a VBox container, which will orient everything vertically. Okay, there we go. That worked. So we can just move everything in there. All right, we see some... DevOps. Nice. Yeah, it's a good space to be in. It's not my favorite personally, but again, I like building front end stuff, and it sounds like you don't like that quite as much. But, oops, where'd this go? What is happening? Why is this? It's zooming me out and scrolling me away. Yeah, I like React. I was just talking with a coworker yesterday about how they just don't understand. Like, there's a lot that happens behind the scenes in React, and you kind of need to understand the inner workings. But like some of the rendering cycles and everything are definitely strange to wrap your head around. And there's a lot of like, oh, it does this thing because you've like put in this keyword or whatnot, and it is, you know, it can be funky sometimes. Oh, all these labels are, that's why there's space in between. Okay, so if we run this, it'll look weird, but oh, it actually won't even work, right? Because, okay, getting ahead of myself. Let's get everything organized, kind of looking how we want it to look, and then we can go and update the code. So working on the background opacity, specific, well, full UI container. I would like self-modulate to, how do I change the opacity? There we go. Okay, so you can just set the alpha to 0. And I want to do that on player UI elements as well. In visibility, self-modulate. Wait, is there an, oh, there's an alpha here. Okay. Perfect. And then same thing with debug UI elements. Cool. So that should be, oh, it's not gonna work. So that should be looking pretty close to what I want. Now for this VBox container, I actually want everything to align from the end, which is great. And then let's make a generic label, like player or just like game UI label component. So it's a user interface, and let's call it game UI label, I guess is fine. Now let's move this. Where did you just save? Game UI, oh, it's in, don't want it in main menu. We'll go to, let's make a new folder called game, or labels. And we'll put game UI label in labels. All right, so as a child, we would like, I think just a normal label, because you can put text on that. Okay, I think that's fine. Now let's add a script. And in this script, we would like to be able to set text, which will take text, which is a string, and we'll just return void for now. And we also want a initialization function where we can pass in the label text. So this will be kind of so if you see in the UI here for the game, we have like a label, which in this is count, total, flashlight, etc. Then there's like a text value after that. So the label text would be like count, and then the just the like inner text, or the value text, I guess we could say, set value text here. So then initialize, we will do our label text, just call this LT. Label text is a string, so that'll initialize to an empty string. Say self.label text equals label text, and then value text is also an empty string. Here we will say self.value text equals VT. And then also, let's see, whenever we update, we also need to update, because this is just going to be the label. It's not actually setting our inner label. So we want to say on ready var label scene equals label. And then when we initialize, we'll set label scene. Actually, this isn't good. Hold on, it's not going to be loaded yet, is it? So a couple things. When the children of this are ready, so when label is ready, we will set label scene.text. Does it not have? No, it should have that element there. Equals self.label text. I can't remember if there's a better way to do this in Godot, but we're just gonna make a string here, self.value text. Okay, and then also just learned recently, if we're setting this value, I'm gonna say if self.is scene what's it called, and where did I do this? I think this is in load menu item, maybe? No, I don't think it's in pause menu, is it? No. Main menu? I thought I did this somewhere, but basically there's a... Oh yeah, is node ready? So this is what I'm looking for. So when we're initializing or updating the text later, if the node is ready, then we want to, then that means that, actually, this node doesn't even have to necessarily be ready. Really what we're looking for is if label scene is ready, then we can set the label scene text. And I guess same with initialize. And then really, if we want to do this properly, not do the same thing several times, we'll say set label. We'll just say set label. That's fine. Text returns void, and then if this is true, we will set the label text with the label scene text with T. And then everywhere we can just do set label or self.set label. Just do that everywhere. Oops. Great. Okay, I think that's doing what we want it to do. Now, there isn't any functionality that I need to signal here, which means I think we can, in game UI, and we'll do this programmatically, but to start, we'll say, hold on, let's call this class name game UI label, which will allow us to access that here, game UI label. Now in game UI, let's this is actually no, let's just do it for real. Okay, so we're going to have I don't know why I keep doing label items equals, and we've been using this pattern elsewhere, but we create an array of dictionaries where the dictionaries have two elements, a text element, which is let's see, actually, do we want to change that here? No, I think that's fine. The text element will be the label text. So we'll say like count text equals count. And then we'll do, we'll have an action, and that action is meant to represent in the case of what I was using this for previously of buttons, this was supposed to represent what happens when a button is clicked. In this case, it's maybe not an action so much as it is an update function. So we want to do this when the label should be updated. So in the case of count, I don't actually even know what count. Oh, count is the number of zombies that are killed. So we want to say, oh, this is gonna get interesting. Where's this called from? Emit update zombies killed. Okay, so the game manager has a signal, gets called. Okay, how do I do this programmatically when Godot GDScript doesn't have a good typing system? All right, so when So all of these connects are going to be okay. Here's what needs to happen then. We need text. We need a signal name, and then we need an update function. So signal name in this case will be emit update zombies killed. And then the update function is self.update zombies killed. Why are you yelling? Oh, because you are different from JavaScript in that you need to actually be strings because you assume that your variable names otherwise. Okay. It's not a const. Great. Then I'll just do var. Whoops. I don't know how to type. Okay. So, oops. That means in ready. Okay, just to appease the game real quick, let me update these. So full UI container, oops, player UI elements / vbox container, oops, / b count. And then I think I can do the same thing for everything else, except for the playthrough except for the version ID, which will be the same, except the difference is it will be debug UI elements. Wait, what is full UI container? Player UI. Oh, hold on. Oh, here we go. It's this one. Debug UI elements. Okay, so I think that should make everything theoretically stop yelling. I can delete this game UI label. It isn't being used. So let's run this. Nope. Update projectile in game UI, line 37. So B count's clearly not defined properly. It's okay. Full UI container. Oh, because I have this twice. That would be why. So I gotta update that everywhere. All right. Let's see if there are any other errors. No. Okay, we're good. So now if we find a zombie, let's just zoom out and find one real quick. If we, I think I may have run out of ammo in this save file, so let me start a new one. And right now I don't have any way to get more ammo. Okay, there we go. So yeah, count. Oh, count isn't. Count is the amount of ammo I have, not, or the amount of ammo that's in the mag. Okay, so that's fine and all working well. So in addition to all of these, I want to just test out label items. So I'm going to say for item in label items, We'll say label item equals, oh no, sorry. Label text, yeah, equals item.get text. We'll say, okay, that should be fine. Now, if label text does not equal the default value for a string, we want to create a new game UI label. So we want to preload this. So we'll say, oops, hello, game label scene equals game UI label scene dot instantiate. Great. And then we will say game label scene dot initialize. And we will pass in, I think, just the label text. Great. So we'll say label text. And then we will say, hold on. I'm realizing we might have an issue here. Okay, I'll explain it in a second, but we want to connect and actually we'll just pull signal name, and then also the so okay, if the label text does not exist, or the signal name does not exist, then whoops, no, sorry. If it doesn't exist and hold on. If not, no wait. Oh geez, hold on. Okay, no, this is right. If label text is not empty and signal name is not empty, okay, we're good. Then we say signal name and item.get update, because that's the function that we want to call when that signal is emitted. Now the tricky part is, how do we know when this function is called? So let's say we're calling for count, which is actually both of these functions. Hold on. The question is, how do we know which label to update? I suppose Hmm. So it's possible rather than having text, we might actually want we might want to instantiate all of our scenes outside so that they're global on the UI. Kind of similar to what we're doing here, except without directly although I guess if we're just going that route, we may as well do this. Okay. Yeah, I have a change of heart. So let's call this, let's rename it to be ammo count, mag count. So on ready var mag count scene. Container player elements vbox container / mag count scene, and then we're actually going to get rid of this altogether because we want to say, wait, can you do that outside of here? I don't know that you can. So I think in ready here, let's just like Bliss's old code real quick. We can say mag count scene dot set label text, right? Is count text. What happens here? Oh, it doesn't work. Attempt to call is node ready and base null instance on a null instance. Label scene. I guess it doesn't exist yet. Hold on. So, oh wait. Hold on. Sorry, not set label text initialized, but I think I still will have the same issue here. Yeah. Why is it null? So I'm specifying here. This is the right path. And it theoretically should be ready at this point. Oops. Game UI label. Maybe it's not ready. So let's not do that yet. I guess maybe we only want to do this if it's ready. Otherwise, we can assume it's ready. Hold on. T is not defined. It's fine. So at this point, we can assume that label scene should be ready. Oh, already. I'll fix this in a sec. Does this resolve the issue? No. Invalid set index text. Line 18. Why are you yelling? Not using you anywhere, am I? No. Oh, because you're not called mag count scene. That's why. Oh boy. So all of this actually can revert for a sec because I was doing something wrong elsewhere. All right, so let's try this again. Same issue, and that's probably because I need to close all these annoyingly, which means you no, still the same issue. So that doesn't work. Okay, well then let's go forward in all these changes so that we're only doing this when everything's ready. Still an issue. Does this not exist for game UI label? I mean, it's a child label. Is that not how you set index text on null instance though? Why is it a null instance? So label should exist. Because by the time we get here, all the child scenes should be loaded into the scene tree. So label scene should exist at this point. It seems to suggest that it's null for some reason. OnReady var label. Am I just doing something silly there? Maybe this is a protected name, which really shouldn't be the case, but let's just rename this to label text. Okay, label text. We're gonna run into the same issue here. Yes. Oops. All right, let's pivot here then. So we're going to programmatically... No, I don't need to even... How do I do that? Am I able to just do that? No. I'm not seeing the issue here. Because by the time the parent scene is ready, the child should already be in the scene tree. So am I somehow... Yeah, for sure. I am building out just like a playground for some different features for a game. So like I'm trying to learn Godot, kind of learn how everything works, and eventually I want to make a game. But before I do that, I want to just like test some of the features that I might want in a game, and then code those and see how they function, so that when I go to build a game, I can, you know, apply what I've learned to that, and things just go a little more smoothly. Right now I have, let me just actually delete this so I can show what the game looks like. I think that should be fine. And I think I'll also have to delete this node. I'm just working through a bug right now. And why aren't you confirming? There we go. Uh-oh. Is Godot crashing? No. Okay. So I've just built out a little like zombie game where you have a flashlight and you have a gun and you try to kill little zombies. I've started working on a little bit of like UI for it. But more broadly, I've built a chunking system and a save system. So as you move around, new chunks are loaded, new zombies are loaded in, and then they're loaded out when you move away from a chunk. You have the ability to save, so there's like a save manager, and the zombies follow you when you're moving around. Relatively simple so far, but the last several days I've been working on UI, learning more about control nodes in Godot, how it all works, and yeah, right now focusing on kind of the game UI. So if you saw, in the game here, there's just some like rudimentary stuff up here. I'm trying to build a reusable component for this, so it's simpler to, like, I don't have to hard code everything and can do it a little more reusably. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm focusing on at the moment. Okay, let's add back this mag count control node. So the issue I'm running into right now is my understanding, and I'm pretty sure this is how Godot works. Yeah, yeah, it's a lot learning a new coding language, a new kind of system and everything. I've been coding professionally for the last 8 years. I do full stack, so a lot of web front end work, and then server back end, like infrastructure type of work. And so I have a good grasp of, you know, those practices, and less so game development. And the game development world is, you know, leaps and bounds more complex and complicated, and there's so many different things you can do, and ways to do them. So I'm really just, getting my feet wet at the moment and trying to build out some interesting features and learn some new stuff, and then, hopefully one day apply it to an actual game. But I've been struggling with UI more than I was expecting to, just given how much I've coded on the front end and worked in React and the web. It's definitely it functions differently than HTML, CSS, JavaScript do. And so it's throwing me off a little bit. But as I was explaining, the way I understand how Godot scene trees work is when a parent's ready function is called, it means that all the children have already been instantiated, added to the scene tree. And so what that should theoretically mean is I should be able to update the text on this particular scene. But for whatever reason, it's saying that label scene is a null instance, and therefore I can't update the text. So I'm not understanding why label scene is a null instance when it really shouldn't be. What is this menu that I found myself in? Oh, this must be a debug menu. Interesting. Yeah, so I'm definitely obviously doing something wrong, but I'm not currently understanding why. Because I do this elsewhere a lot, it feels like. Let's just double check our so for load menu item, which is a similar concept, we actually are, oh no, sorry, for action, we care about action button. That functions more similarly to this. So we have like a panel container and then a button. And so in the script here, we are saying button when it's ready. Then in ready, we're actually updating the button. So maybe my issue is that this label scene, let's try calling this label scene. This shouldn't make any difference by itself, but then we'll say self.label. I'm just wondering if there's like a protected name label scene that's causing this issue that I'm not realizing. No, okay, same issue. Label scene is null. Maybe there's an issue with the class name matching the, hold on. The class name matching the, are you saying, when you say emulator, do you mean like the editor? I doubt it's an issue with the editor. I would be surprised to find a bug as simple as this, given this has worked everywhere else so far. So I'm clearly not, both a node and its children have entered the scene tree. Yeah, so if the node has children, their ready callbacks get triggered first. So theoretically, this label text should have already been instantiated prior to the game UI label being ready. But this is a null instance for some reason. I could not tell you why. I wonder, like, is it something to do with this label type itself? It feels weird because in game UI, all of these are just normal labels, and I'm able to access them in the ready function no problem. So maybe actually it's that there's a control node. That might be why. So okay, that shouldn't be a control node. This should actually be a button. I mean a label. And then label text isn't necessary. That's redundant. So we've got this game UI label here where we don't need this label text scene anymore. We will actually just be updating self.text here. So I think this should work. No, we have an issue. Valid set index text with value of type string. You are not a control. You are a label. So close you. Let's try this again. Script inherits from native type label, so it can't be assigned to an object of type control. Hold on. I think this was... Where are we assigning it to an object of type control? This just feels like a... Hold on. What is happening here? Change type. You are a label. Look at your script. You extend label. Are you not allowed to do this? Script inherits from native type label, so it can't be assigned to an object of type control. Where am I assigning it to an object of type control? Oh, okay. So I need to delete this node. Oh no, sorry. I need to update the type of this node. This is the issue. Oh, why is that a control? Weird. Okay. Game UI label. Okay. Now this should hopefully work. It does. However, as you can see, whoa, it's very small, but in the top left, you can just see a semicolon there, or colon. So this initialize is not updating so it's updating label text, but that's happening after the ready is called. So we actually need to do okay, so func set text, it's a string, returns void. So this is where we'll do this. Actually, Yeah. Yeah, I got it finally. That was annoying to say the least. Okay, there's already a protected function called set text, so we're gonna say set label text, and then I think all I need to do is self.set label text, and that should handle it for me. Cool. So we should see 2 counts now. Great. And the first one, as we also should expect, has no value text because we aren't setting this value text anywhere. Okay, so we've initialized this properly. Now we can remove the old count because it was b count and b count label. Okay, but there's only b count there. So then rather than, so when we update the projectile, now I forget what P and T stand for. This is why. Player.total wait, what is this doing? Update projectile. Oh, projectiles and mag, and then total. Okay, so count in mag total count. And this will all get updated when I change how ammo and everything works, I think. So we're going to say mag count scene dot set what's it called? Set value text is string of count in mag, and we can get rid of b count here. Why are you yelling? Update projectile. Remember total count. Oh, total count. Okay, and we'll be updating t count in a sec, and then we also need to do the same here. So we can say update that with R when we reload. So we should see count is 8. We shoot, count is 7. Great. And we reload, and it's back to 8. Perfect. So this is working exactly how we wanted it to work. And now we're out of ammo. All right, and I'll make these elements bigger so you can actually see what's going on the stream, because right now I think it's probably pretty small. So now we just need to do the same thing here for everything else. We will be adding children game UI labels for the mag count, which we just did. The total count, I guess, is fine to call it. I think we can just copy and paste a bunch of these, except they don't want them to be children of this. We want them to be children of this. Why does it do that by default? I couldn't tell you. And 6. I think it's just 6 of them. So this one will be called, actually it's only 5, but that's fine. This one will be called flashlight, if I know how to spell. And we'll have a zombie count. And we'll have playthrough and player position. Player position. Great. So the rest of this stuff can get deleted, I believe. Great. So now everything's going to render dynamically, programmatically. We need total text. I don't actually remember what they were all called now, but it's fine. We'll wing it. Say flashlight text equals flashlight. Zombie count text is zombie. We can update that later. Playthrough text equals playthrough ID, I think is what it was. And then player position text would just be player position. Let's update this to not have the 2 at the end. Why aren't you updating? Please delete the 2. Thank you. Okay, so this can just be, hold on. We're going to say total count scene. Oops. It's total count. We will say flashlight scene is flashlight, not flashlight 2. Great. Zombie count scene is zombie count. And then playthrough scene is playthrough. Version, we'll handle version ID in a sec because that's in the debug elements, which is down in the bottom right corner here. And then player position scene is player position, and that's what it was already. Great. So we can put mag count, oops, at the top here. Not that it matters, but just for the sake of order. And then we'll do this for everything else. So we'll say total count scene is total text. Yeah, let's actually do this. It's a little easier. So we'll say flashlight scene dot initialize is flashlight text. Zombie count scene initialize with zombie count text. Playthrough scene, etc., etc. Player position scene. It's player position text. Okay, so now still wanna this actually isn't old. Oops. We want to keep all of these exactly as they are. I think same with this. And now we just want to update these. So say total count scene dot set value text with total count. Then flashlight scene dot dot set value text flashlight energy, then zombie count scene dot set value text And then play scene.set value text ID. And then we'll deal with update version later. And then we'll say player position scene.set value text of string position. Great. So now, theoretically, this should work. And it does. And it looks exactly the same. So now that we've gone and made a reusable component for all of these labels, we can go into the label and change how everything looks once, and then it should work for all of them at the same time. So displayed text, no, not displayed text, hold on. How do I change the text size? I think it's like theme overrides. Yeah. Okay, so font sizes. That's very small. Let's just say 24 for the moment. So now if we save, boot things up again, still very small. That didn't actually seem to change anything. So let's just go very large and say 50. Oh, I think that's actually because it hadn't registered in the editor. Nope, still super small. Okay, hold on. One moment. Apologies for that interruption. So we're not seeing the label change when I'm modifying the font sizes here. And I'm not sure why. I'm curious what... Okay, so I think I needed to do label settings here. So we'll say font size. So, okay, so all of the font size stuff down here and the theme overrides, don't want to worry about that. For size, default was 16. Let's just go to 36 to start and see what this looks like. Also didn't change it at all, which is a little concerning, honestly. I would expect that to work. And it doesn't. And that's confusing. These are all game UI labels, right? Maybe they're not being... Oh... Maybe they're not being updated because they're each like individual ones and not... So what, I have to do that here? Or maybe it's because do I need to update their types again? So now if I were to go and say it's a game UI label, does that now have... No, it doesn't even have label settings. What happens if I add a new game UI label here? That doesn't have label settings either. So then maybe within the code here, So maybe I need to specify this in code rather than in the editor. Let's go ahead and look at the documentation for this then. So I don't feel like this is what you should have to do, but is there a way to... Okay. Godot label settings. All right, is there no use case here? Okay, maybe this is the way you're supposed to do it then. So we'll say var label set equals label settings dot new, and then we'll say ls dot font size equals 36, and then we'll say self dot label settings equals ls. That might not be how you assign it, but let's see if this works. There we go. Okay, so we have to do it programmatically for whatever reason. I don't know why it's not updating here, but it's not a huge deal. It's very straightforward to do in code. So let's actually add a function for create label settings, and we don't really need to make it modifiable, so we'll return a label settings object, and we'll say return ls, and then we can just do label settings equals self dot create label settings. And it should also work exactly the same. Cool. Oh, that's great. It's bigger. It's a little more visible. Doesn't need to be pretty, but it's at least reusable and relatively straightforward. Now, the next question is, should I do this programmatically? So rather than having each of these hard-coded within the UI, should these all just be programmatic? I could maybe get away with that by saying something like, let's give this a try. So var of, let's just say mag count equals, and it's going to be a dictionary where we will say the node is, this might be weird to do, but we're gonna give it a try. Game UI label scene is preload game UI label. So we're gonna say node is game UI label scene dot instantiate, and then the text is count text. The signal name is no, sorry, we don't need signal name actually. So we've got the node and text. This might be silly. Let's not even go down this path. Okay. All right, hold on one moment here. All right, guys, I'm actually going to split. This was fun. Made some good progress here. Got the in-game UI with a reusable component that I can modify on the fly. Next time I'll work on the debug info, and then I'll work on the player inventory. And from there, I think that should be enough like UI elements that I can go ahead and work on some actual features. So thanks for bearing with me, everyone. I appreciate everyone that tuned in and chatted. You can give me a follow on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube, and let's get this committed, and then we'll go ahead and end the stream, and then I'll see you guys probably tomorrow. And I imagine I'll stream for a bit tomorrow. I can't watch football all day, so I'll do some coding. But yeah, added game UI label and connected to the game UI component. Let's push this. And then one other thing, actually, last thing I want to check is when I resize the screen, does everything stick where it's supposed to? And it does look like it does. Granted, top left's not going to move at all, but at least the bottom right does. So that is working as we were intending. Okay, cool. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. I appreciate it. Had a good time, and I will see you all